Hello to my air signs Libra, Aquarius and Gemini. Welcome to the Cancer full moon. You'll find the timestamps for your rising signs listed below. Hello Libra rising, welcome to your horoscope for the Cancer full moon, happening on December the 27th at 11:33 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So the night of the 26th, perfect. The night of the 27th, perfect. Relax into this full moon Libra rising. Don't feel that you have to sort of do anything, like I would highly recommend standing underneath the beautiful light of this moon. The moon is the planet or luminary astral body that rules Cancer, which simply means it's the planet that is of best help to the sign Cancer. It is like the space holder for Cancer as well. Ruth Haddockin's a great astrologer that speaks about the space holder for the signs rather than the ruler. We're trying as hard as we can to move away from language of dominance, aren't we? So yeah, the moon does its work in Cancer. And you can think about that in terms of what you know about Cancer, the sign as well. Cancer is cardinal water, so like your cardinal air, the initiation into grander thought and synchronicity and harmony. Cancer is emotional valor, emotional bravery, the feeling of showing up for those that you love. In the tarot, it's the Chariot that is the major secret that speaks to Cancer. And when I look at this card, I always think about all of the different goddesses that were moon goddesses in different cultures all over the planet. And a lot of them rode in on a chariot, a silver chariot. I think Selena is the one that I'm thinking of now with that beautiful crescent moon headdress and her silver chariot dragging through the moon, or dragging the moon along with her. It's a beautiful image. We know this by now, but cry your eyes out at a full moon. This one's pretty public for you. Cancer rules your 10th house, which is your legacy, what you wish to be known for, your most public-facing self. It's really lovely to have such an emotionally sincere sign ruling that part of your life. Suits you too, doesn't it, Libra rising? When all is said and done, at the end of it, I would like to be remembered for how much I loved. That's fabulous. That's so lovely. How much I showed care, how much I was able to nurture those that I loved and admired. That's beautiful. There's a lot of emotions that can sort of swell around this time of year, isn't there? There's a lot of different feelings around the holidays. A lot of different feelings around a sense of sort of home and family and privacy. Capricorn season will always be an illumination on that part of your life, Libra rising, on your sense of home and ancestry, for good or for bad. Sometimes there might be some more difficult things or unhappy memories that sort of arise. I'd like to pepper this reading. Well, actually, maybe pepper is the wrong word. I'd like to sweeten this reading with a bit of love and goodwill, though. The moon is at 4 degrees of Cancer, and the minor arcana, the minor secret of the tarot that speaks to that decan, is the 2 of Cups. And that's really one of the happiest cards that we could possibly hope to see in a reading. It's emblematic of Venus in Cancer, so you can imagine how lovely that would be. I like this version in particular. It's cheeky. You can see there's 2 brides and 2 grooms, all in one delicious gift-wrapped package. It's nice to feel a sense of warmth and comfort around this time. somewhere in your legacy, I see it, Libra rising, that you would probably be really mindful of those that do not have those feelings of love and warmth and safety at this time. It can be quite triggering for folks this time of year too. Some folks, there's a lot of the past that gets reviewed. But somewhere in your legacy, in your public-facing self, the most visible part of you, you're really hyper-aware of that, and you're able to put in the work to care and to give at this time. That's really so remarkable and so lovely of you. What a beautiful thing to reflect on as your legacy culminates. You know, you're not licked yet, Libra rising. You've got heaps of time left, heaps. You're going to stay a while, as I said in the last reading. But how lovely to think that that is what you have left behind. That's your mark, your little thumbprint, your little fossilized hieroglyphs on the world. It's just about love. Now, so a couple of hours after this full moon, Chiron will station direct in your 7th house. I've been having a look, I've been doing my sort of yearly review, so getting a handle, getting my mind around the astrology of next year. And there's some real points of remark, and there's a lot of Chiron energy in the first 6 months of the year at least, which I was found surprising. The aspects and the conjunctions are exact, and they're pretty remarkable. So when we think about Chiron, we do think about the sort of wounding, sort of unconscious wounding in some way, latent trauma, and the potential to heal some of that. There's always a massive opportunity to heal with Chiron's company, with Chiron's presence. So just keep in mind that at this full moon on the 27th, a few hours after, Chiron will station direct, and so we talk about it. So it might be, there might be some tenderizing moments for you as we lead up to the new year. On New Year's Eve itself, Jupiter will station direct too. So I think that that's everyone except for Mercury. Once Mercury stations direct, then it's all systems go. I think we'll all feel a bit of a sort of like foot on the gas, because all of the planets will be in their direct motion. Yeah, but we can talk about that another time. I think let's just sort of, with our beautiful candlelight, with our sort of chill vibes, let's raise our glass to love. Let's raise our glass to the purifying qualities of that emotion, and how at the end of it all, that's all that we really need to count on. Love is the only thing. And that sounds like such a trashy Christmas card, you know, old lang syne kind of sentiment. I believe it. I believe that when all is said and done, it's the love that we will remember as we say goodbye. Not all of the other shit. Not all of the other drama. Not all of the other hurt or pain. Won't be how much money we've got. We won't give a shit about that. It'll be how full our hearts were. I'm being very sappy, Libra rising. I do apologize. I've been babysitting some animals that have been showing me the purity of their love for a whole week. And it's so healing. It's so healing to be in the company of animals, because without language and without alibi, motive. What word am I looking for? Fuck, you know what I mean. They love you. As long as you feed them and you pat them and you walk them, they adore you. And they show you that. And it's powerful. I'm going to get you some tarot, I think, Libra rising. Yeah, we've got a lot on our plates for 2024. I'll try and avoid the sentiment of sort of like, F off 2023, hello 2024. Don't let the door kick you on the way out. You know, it's been an awful year. Word, that's the truth. It has been real challenging. It's been an echo, of the past. And we've got some good work to do next year. Because Mars is in the mix with a lot of this astrology that I'm talking about for next year. Mars is not an adversary of yours, Libra rising, definitely an energy in the universe that finds it difficult under the laws of Libra, under the sort of governing force of your beautiful, just, good self. The feeling of destruction is kind of strong, you know. I think it's really up to us to sort of consider then what is the alternatives, how, in what ways can we activate community, how are we going to feel our way through this real heat that Mars is bringing with it. Over the next 6 months in particular, there's going to be moments with Mars that will be, some of them will be like really kind of like brave, and others will be really full on. I think that it's really, it's kind of like, it's so unhelpful when politicians say things like, you know, hopes and prayers for so-and-so, hopes and prayers for so-and-so. I wonder what we can do to flesh out some of this real dire need to protect and to serve those that are in danger. And obviously language is sort of spinning you out a bit. I know, Libra rising, because you don't want things to be off kilter. You don't want things to be out of balance. We're also realists, aren't we? We can't witness this unjustified behavior for much longer. So it'll be up to us to figure out, it's like, what are the best things that we can do? And there's resources, there are folks that you can call, there are community groups that are sort of activating around the world. It kind of feels to me so I was just checking the tarot card and the astrology. There's something about Venus in Sagittarius. So obviously Venus is your guiding light, and they're going to move into Sagittarius on the 30th, so the day before New Year's Eve. And this feels to me like It's kind of like a call, it's like a sounding, it's like, let's get to work. Let's use our strength. The definition of that is different for everyone, but yes, let's use the power that we have for good. That's what Venus is saying to you at this time, Libra rising. Let's use the power that we have for good. Yeah. Happy New Year. Much love to you, Libra rising. If you're still here with me, put a crab in the comments, please. That would be awesome. If you'd like me to read your birth chart in the new year, I will draw you one up, and they look like that, and I'll read it to you via Zoom. That would be really lovely. You can send me some tip money at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby, and you can also subscribe to my horoscopes for $10 per month if that's something that you can afford. You can do that via Buy Me a Coffee as well. I'll see you in the new year. I'll see you in the first week of the new year, actually, and I'll give you a pep talk for this new moon in Capricorn that sort of starts off everything for 2024. Come Aries season, all bets are off, so we're going to have some nice preparation time moving forward. Sorry to be vague in the last bit of that reading, Libra rising, but it's sort of like Venus entering Sagittarius is your third house of the goddess, okay? So I feel that in that house there is great potential for private ritual, private ceremony, to put your powers to best use, to work with the goddess for good, if that makes any sense to you. I hope that it does. There's power in your magic too, Libra rising. This powerlessness is something that we're going to move past, all right? Okay, that's enough from me. Happy New Year. Take care. Hello Aquarius rising, welcome to your horoscope for the Cancer full moon happening on December the 27th at 11:33 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So the evening of the 26th, perfect. The evening of the 27th, perfect. Whenever you need to, and if you can, take your moment with the moon. Go sit underneath and tell the moon your secrets. Tell the moon your fantasies. Have you seen Batman Forever? Sorry, I just got that caught in my head. You know that box that the Riddler invented, where he was sucking everyone's ideas and thoughts and memories out of their minds so he could gain all of the knowledge in the entire world? Wow. Well, maybe we should rewatch that. Anyway, this moon, I would just love to speak about love. I just love to really talk about love in all its many different guises, many different forms, and how grateful I am for the love in my life at this time, and hopefully how grateful you can feel for the love that permeates your life as well. Cancer rules your 6th house, Aquarius rising, so there's something about kind of like servitude that might be attached to this place. There might be something that you kind of feel obligated to as well when there's transits and activation in your 6th house. It might be worth checking your birth chart to see what is occurring in your 6th house as well. The moon in Cancer is so strong and so able and willing to face emotions, to work with them, and to sort of like not look away. Cancer is the sign that initiates the conversation. Cancer is the one that sort of says, have you eaten? what's wrong? No, what's wrong here? You're not happy. How can I? What did they say? Like Cancer's really protective of us. It's nice to feel that sort of protection with full moon in Cancer, because we know that the moon can have us sort of act all manner of different ways, but in Cancer they're kind of doing their best work. They're sort of like really like safe is maybe the wrong word, but there's definitely a feeling of like, I know what I'm doing here. In the tarot, it's the Chariot that speaks to the energy of Cancer in the major arcana. And I love this because it sort of reminds me of all of the different goddesses of the moon in many different traditions over the world. Often they'd ride in on a silver chariot, dragging the moon behind them. So stunning. But also that kind of like valor, bravery, directive, when given the layer of emotions, it's pretty stunning. When was the last time you cried, Aquarius? When was it? Did it feel really good? Are you looking forward to it if it's been a little while? I can tell you, the last time that I cried, well, actually, let's think about it, really. It's been quite a lot over the past month or so. One that sticks out, I was washing the dishes and Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs came on and I lost it. Another time was just the other day, actually, as I was patting this beautiful Kelpie / lab here that I'm babysitting. Her name's Dashi. She just looked at me in a certain way and I lost it. I've been spending a lot of time with animals lately. It's one of my other jobs, is that I take care of people's pets when they're away. And the purity of that kind of love is something that you just can't look away from. There's something that has got nothing to do with language or motivation. It's got to do with like the purest form of sincere emotional investment. And it's remarkable. All you need to do is feed and walk and tend to your animals and they will love you forever. They know when you're feeling not very good too, and they'll come and be near you. They'll look at you with doe eyes, especially if they're a Kelpie. It's a nice contrast, and it's really good for your health. Aquarius rising. That kind of beautiful, pure, sincere unity, as the tarot would say. The moon's at 4 degrees of Cancer, so it's the Two of Cups that we chat about. And yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a loss for words every now and again, because I'm like, find a different way to say fucking healing, or sometimes I've been getting a bit effed off with myself, I think, lately. That's a story for another time, but it's just sort of like, I want these chats to be kind of beneficial for you, and I don't want platitudes to get in the way of what I'm really trying to say. And isn't that funny? I've only got my sort of like language to translate my intent. I wish I was a dog. I really do. In fact, I really hope that I come back as one, because I think I deserve it. I was just looking at your chart, Aquarius rising, and obviously this moon's going to be brimming with all manner of different feelings. It always happens at the end of the year that there'll be a Cancer full moon, either at the end or the beginning of the year, but definitely around the holiday period. Whenever the sun is in Capricorn, we can guarantee a full moon in Cancer. And so it's kind of like to the letter, because people do gather at this time of year. They tend to, and there's a lamentation around this time of year as well. Not everything's smooth sailing. There's a lot of sort of like thinking back to the past, and a lot of grumbling from some people too. But I was looking at your chart, and Chiron for all of us on the same day as this full moon will station direct. So again, that sort of feeling of like, okay, there's some stuff to heal here. There's definitely some things to look at and to be soothed, you know. But I also then had a look at your little chart, and the dragon is also in Aries too. We know this is going to be for the next year. But just maybe just a little bit of advice. I found that when the dragon was in my third house, there was, which obviously would put the tail in the ninth, there was an absolute limitation to my ability to move around. There was things that I had to let go of in terms of my like either wanderlust, my wanderlust / propensity to fucking bolt when the going gets tough. I've been running my whole life. I'm like Forrest Gump. And when these eclipses were taking place, there was just no option. Try as I might to run, I couldn't. I was stopped. And in sort of opposition to that, that dragon's head was urging me into the third house, the house of the goddess. It was where this sort of ritual of mine really picked up. Tarot ritual, I mean, like giving you tarot readings. And I also found myself sort of like in this, in this body that I'm highly uncomfortable in, always have been, fact. And in this environment, and the sort of urgency from the universe to be like, heal, like you are you. You've got just as much right to walk down the street as anybody else does. You've got just as much right to invest in what makes you happy and what makes your heart sing. The house of the goddess was really, really encouraging me to find my place in the village, as it were. And just to sort of double down on this as well, it's got less to do with the moon, but it's just something that I wanted to say at this time, especially because you might find yourself in your old village, your old hometown or something like that. I'm not a wizard, like it's December, but do you know what I mean? Like it's sort of like there's something that we tend to carry this, depending on how much trauma there was when you were younger, but there's this uncomfortability in one's skin sometimes in the sort of, the hometown or whatever. But the dragon was encouraging me, being like, nah, you're staying, like they had their thumb on my forehead, like you're staying here and you're doing your steez, you're doing your shit. Also on my birth chart, my Chiron placement is in that same house, in the third. So I've been sort of unpacking some of that too for myself and thinking about that in terms of like, oh, okay, so that's a beautiful wound to carry and to see in other people and be unable to heal myself. However, I haven't been doing some healing, not just by myself, but with my mates, my dogs. That was just a tangent that had nothing to do with anything. I'm going to get you some tarot Aquarius rising. I'm sorry, I'm really feeling wrung out in a lovely way, but also in a way that's just sort of like, like it's the time of the season. Yeah. A lot of reflection, isn't there? A lot of like, never fails. I hate December, I always have. Not always. When I was very little, it was very exciting. Who knows what next year will hold, Aquarius rising. You could be gallivanting all over the place, but just because, as I think I've said it to you before, it's like, in some ways, with the eclipses at least, it's like what I have been through, you will be about to go through. Or what you're about to go through, I have just been through. Does that make sense? And for what it's worth, I found this to be some of the most valuable years of my life. Sorry, I laugh because I got the Hermit. I was sort of like, yeah, no, I've really enjoyed these last couple of years. It's been really great. I've been so alone. I've been keeping to myself. I have not been, like, I've been hermiting. I've been really solitary. I think there's been quite a few of us that have done this or followed this similar rhythm. Perhaps the pandemic was a catalyst for that. I know it was for me. It was also finding a different rhythm in myself and my body. There were certain heights that I was, or windmills, I should say, that I was sucked up into energetically in my life. There were certain obligations that I felt that I owed the world. Let me refine what I'm trying to say here. I have been really grateful for this period of time. I've been really grateful for my ability to find a rhythm that's different to my old one, which was looking like it was about to fly off the handle. I'm really grateful that I've taken this time and put it to good use. I'm really grateful that I've been learning as much as I can about the world around me and not feeling guilty for the amount of time that I need alone to have a happy life. I look forward to entering into the lives of people that I love and admire very much as time goes on. I also understand the bargain that has been struck with each of those that I hold very dear, and I know that the absence or the distance between us is something that we all are managing. I also understand this feeling, maybe, that it's difficult to trust people these days, and that folks don't trust each other anymore after the sort of consecutive years of hurt and trauma that the human race has lived through. I really feel that these cards are saying that there is a balance that's going to be struck for you, and that possibly this kind of this subtraction maybe of some of your ability to move around and to get out there and, you know, go get 'em, kid. Like, and that's not to say you might find yourself out there. It's just from my experience. And possibly, really, the dragon was sort of whispering on my shoulder, like, you stop running away. No more. You're actually not allowed to. I'm actually going to hold you here to face this part of your life and this part of your healing. It's imperative that you heal from this, kid, because no amount of avoidance or dissociating, getting effed off your head, getting F the pain away, no amount of that is going to make it stop. My mind, Aquarius rising, sorry, just make it all about me. That's been a major part of it, is me coming into a better friendship with the way that my mind operates, and the thoughts and the repetition and the speed of which those thoughts can sometimes arrive for me. And I don't consider it so much like deficit any longer. There was a period in time where I thought, oh no, you've lost it. You are a Fruit Loop. And now I am so much more willing to work with my strengths. and to work with the mind that I have to really understand that it's I'm not alone in the way that my thoughts are structured and the speed in which they sometimes arrive. I do know that it's got a lot to do with my body too, and if my body is stressed out, then that's when I'll start thinking before I wake up and get into, find myself staring at a wall because it's all too overwhelming. The 6th house in Cancer can speak to these things too. It can speak to the health of our systems. And that's not to say that the diversity of your thought patterns is unhealthy. And that's the kind of the language that's developing now too. But maybe there's some forgiveness here that you can sort of allow yourself, and you can also stand in your proverbial hometown or village as yourself and be like, yeah, maybe not, my name isn't Muriel anymore, it's Mariel. It's kind of like, this is me, this is who I always have been since I was a kid. And I ran from this place because it was proven to me that who I was quite naturally was not welcome here. However, I'm a grown-up now, and this environment is actually really beautiful, and the land itself is telling me that I'm welcome. I don't need your effing permission. Who knows if that was helpful? Golly. I love you very much, Aquarius rising. If you're still here with me, can you put a crab in the comments? That would be wicked. Much love to you. If you would like me to read your birth chart, they look like that. I'll draw you one up and I'll read it to you via Zoom, and I'll post it to you in the mail. I highly recommend it. You can also send me some tip money at buymeacoffee.com/UmaRuby. There's also an option to subscribe to my work there for $10 Australian a month if you can afford it. It's okay if you can't, I understand. It's hectic out there. I love you, and I'll be with you in the new year. We're going to speak about the new moon in Capricorn. But until then, take a load off. The streets where we used to live. Have a Golden Gay time in your thongs and walk around and be like, yeah, this is me. I love you. Bye. Hello, Gemini rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the Cancer full moon happening on November the 27th at 11:33 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. So the night of the 26th, the night of the 27th, the moon will be big and bright and beautiful and juicy and in Cancer where it does its best work. The moon is the cosmic body that rules the sign Cancer, or holds space for the sign Cancer, that helps and encourages, Cancer helps and encourages the moon to do its best work. On that, it's going to be highly, highly, highly emotional. Cancer is the cardinal water sign of our zodiac, which means that it's incredibly unafraid to go there and to feel what it needs to feel and to encourage you to feel it as well. Cancer wants to protect us and to nurture us and to wrap us up in something that feels safe and that allows us to be vulnerable, which I think is just beautiful. And it's so nice that we get to share this together on both sides of the equator. It's funny that, it's either a Cancer full moon will happen either in December or in January, so the end or the beginning of the year. You can always rely on that to be this sort of like emotional sort of clarity as we throw out our old calendar and get the new one in. I understand this feeling of wanting it to stop. I really do. I'm moving beyond that, I did some astrological study with myself for the past couple of weeks, just to sort of get everything prepared for next year and think about what, I can talk about and what might be appearing for us in the galaxy. And I feel kind of brave, and I feel really ready to face it. There's going to be a lot of stuff that occurs with Chiron, who actually will be stationing direct the day of this full moon as well. So remember all of that talk about the sort of wounding and the potential for healing around your sense of the human condition. Chiron will station direct on the 27th as well, and will make its sort of very slow march through Aries. It's going to be in Aries until 2026. But next year, there will be a number of conjunctions that occur between Mars and also the Dragon's Head that haven't happened for many, many years. This Chiron in Aries, this sign of self-determination of the individual, I'm sure that we're kind of rapidly realizing the pain that mind frame or that ideology can inflict on oneself and those around them. So that's what we've got to look forward to in 2024, throwing out 2023 with hopes for the new year, of which there will be many beautiful moments too, I imagine. We must prepare ourselves that it feels like there's no going back from this moment, that things are going to continue to change and challenge us. And Cancer is maybe encouraging us to act from a space of love at this time. Hopefully you've got the opportunity to be around folks that you really do care about at this time. Hopefully there's some great healing that can occur in the company of your loved ones. I hope so, Gemini rising, I really do. Now, on your birth chart, Cancer rules the second house, which is your values and your access to resources. And the moon is actually in a supportive relationship with Saturn in Pisces, up in your 10th house. So there's another conversation here about your kind of livelihood and what you are able to accrue for yourself, and the boundaries that have been set in place, or the tests, the marker points, what am I trying to say? Your legacy doesn't happen overnight. You don't sort of wake up one day and be like, oh, fantastic, I'm a great success. Everything is lush. Legacy is something that's sort of built up over time and time and time. And it's also probably something that's got maybe little to do with you. You know, how will folks, we all wonder it. I wonder if I'll be remembered. I wonder how folks will remember me. But we really don't get any say in that. And we don't know for sure what that looks like. We can fantasize about it when we look at our chart. And what I see here with Saturn in Pisces in your 10th house, and it will be there for the next years, but there is kind of something about like working with a container, or finessing your expertise, or finessing your skill base, finessing your magic, I probably would say as well, because it is Pisces. But this moon is speaking to that in a supportive way. So maybe coming back to these groups of loved ones, coming back with friends, the holiday period, for a lot of us, we get to spend with people that we care about. There might be some conversations or some things that come up in those interactions where you feel like you're sort of needing to maybe explain yourself. But if that's the case, then you can sort of be like, no, it's okay. I've got this support here with Saturn. I've got this kind of, protection from the planets around me that are helping me find the words for these whacked out ideas that I've been having, that I'm going to act on, that I'm going to do it. I am. Also, Venus will be entering into Sagittarius on the day before New Year's Eve, on the 30th. So that's cute for you. That's nice. You just had sort of Mars blaze their trail through your 7th house, and now beautiful Venus is there as well to seal the deal, as it were. I really like that. It's sort of another example of what love looks like when looking at astrology, when looking at sigils and hieroglyphs and things. That tells a nice story of connection. The moon is at 4 degrees of Cancer too, and the tarot card that we chat about in that decan of the zodiac is the 2 of Cups. More love. It's super cute. I really like it. It's what I've been learning over these past months is the powerful feeling of gratitude that I have for the people that I love and the people that I know love me. It's been kind of quite overwhelming for me to really kind of absorb that truly and honestly over these past months. And yeah, without wanting to sound like a friggin' sap, it's like the power of love is really, really strong. And whatever you feel yourself possibly coming up against or in the process of working through, you know, it's sort of, it's not, it doesn't feel like the time of year to be like, you know, singing holiday songs or anything like that. It does feel a little different. It feels really pivotal in my own, you know, one little world. And hey, look, I don't spend very much time with anyone. So I have been hanging out a lot with animals. That's one of my jobs. I do take care of people's pets when they're away. And maybe that's what I'm feeling as well, is this like overwhelming physical response to the emotion of love. You know, it's like, and it has been a little while for me, I will admit, to be sort of like, to feel love like that, you know, when you're sort of in company with beautiful animal friends who don't have any language to tell you so. You know, their needs are simple. They just need to be fed and walked and patted and cared for, and they'll love you forever. And you know that in your bones, through and through. That's kind of what I mean about this sort of feeling of love. It's sort of beyond platitude. And it's sort of hard, and it's so funny that we can insist on trying to find language for it too. And obviously your Gemini rising would really be into that too. It's find the language, you know. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But it's like the profundity of the physical feeling of love, which is Cancer, is like, you know, all over. They're an expert at that thing. It takes the breath away, and it does bring a tear to the eye. I am a sap. Animals do make me weep tears of joy. And I'm not sad about it. I'm not apologizing. Okay, Gemini, we're going to have a little chat about anxiety. We can do that. You're a Gemini, you understand what that means. You've also got some really great tools and strategies to move through that as well, I'm sure. The 8 of Swords is one of your tarot cards. That simply means that it's the 8 of Swords is an emblem of a Gemini occurrence, a Gemini feeling. I understand completely and sincerely the power of a really busy mind and an overactive imagination and a highly conversational internal world. I know that really sincerely. I know that it can be so debilitating on the body if there's no outlet for some of that. If it's an internal conversation and if it's these sort of thoughts that are in repetition, and I'm not holding this against you as well, Gemini rising, it's completely understandable why this might be occurring for you. And let me say it face to face, you're not the only one that is sort of racked with this continual messaging service inside. It's just a matter of how we're going to find the appropriate strategy for you to work to find the outlet to get it out of the mind and into the world. Not everything that you say, what am I trying to say here? Not every idea or thought that you have is the be-all, end-all. You know? I think there's safe avenues for you to find where you can voice what's going on in your mind, when you can say things like, just as an example, it's just sort of like, I feel that you're going to leave me, or I feel that this is absolutely not working. I'm a wreck. My body is like shutting down. I don't know what to do, but I can't go on. You can find ways. You can see how that sort of, if that's in there the whole time, there's no outlet. You're going to burst. Like a therapist, bam, straight off the bat, like the perfect person to let some of this out, because as soon as you get it out of your mind and into the world, into the ether, then you can start to look at it. I've got some pentacles here, so I'm just thinking really practically about this kind of like working with someone else, but like the reality of the thing rather than like the swords of it all. Those swords are really sharp, and you know how to play with knives, Gemini rising. You've got to respect them, but you can feel that danger on the inside. And there's also no use in, and I understand this, God, I've got a lot to say. I understand the pressure that you might be feeling of like needing to keep a lid on it and keeping it all inside, because it's the holiday period and you are catching up with folks you haven't seen for a while. You don't want to drag them down with your stuff, but it's all just going on in here. You're going to find someone to speak to about this, and it's going to be a completely unbiased source, and there's going to be no judgment in the room, and you're going to be able to put voice to some of these rapid fire intrusive thoughts, and it's going to be all right, because as soon as you talk about them, you're like, well, now that I've said it, I actually don't really feel that to be true. It's just something that I could only assumed. Or do you understand what I mean? You're not going to be able to get all of this sort of sorted in there alone. Like a full belief in mind control, great, awesome, but like give yourself a break. Because it feels like there's something about next year's astrology that feels really pivotal. It feels, like I'm going to, as best I can, elaborate on it without, I'm finding my own feet here as well. Like I don't want to see something in a pattern and then not be able to do anything to stop it. So we're going to be really strategic with how we discuss this stuff, and we're going to feel really in our power to be able to face it too. It does feel pivotal, it does feel like it's sort of like 2024. This is us now. I mean, we need you in sound mental faculty to approach some of these more challenging aspects in the astrology and in our lives. You are not at all, by any means, in no way weak for reaching out for help. You probably know that because, you know, the swords signs tend to be really like great sort of therapists themselves. They're great at sort of hosting these kinds of conversations. Tarot is really saying, you too can receive the therapeutic benefits of this conversation. There you go, Gemini rising. I hope that was beneficial for you, babe. This is the last reading for 2023, sort of going out on a bit of a kind of feeling. And I'm fine with that. I've got a dog to pat. I love you very much. And if you're still here with me, put a crab in the comments. That would be awesome to help the work sort of spread and get out there. You can also get your birth chart read by me. I'll draw you it. They look like that over at umaruby.com. So treat yourself in the new year with a reading with Uma. And you can also tip me at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. And there's also an option to subscribe over on that website too. Thank you very much for your love and company, Gemini rising. And I'll see you in 2024. Until then, bye.